And this dam is a project that was the first time in the history of the city of Champlin that any bonding money has ever come.
John Hoffman is running for re-election to the Minnesota Senate this year. Senator John Hoffman and Tim O'Brien had a great discussion in this studio in December 2014.
So if you look at a child who is free,
they talked about issues that are important to the residents of Senate District 36, which includes parts of Brooklyn Park, Coon Rapids, and all of Champlin, where John and his family live. We were impressed by Hoffman's stands for education, healthcare, jobs, and the environment.
It's, you know what, everybody needs to get out and involved with the caucus.
Now, Democratic Visions wanted to learn what Senator Hoffman has been hearing this election season. So, after an early morning drive on Highways 494 and 169 and an honest cup of joe, courtesy of John and his wife Yvette, the senator shared his thoughts.
You know, this time around, we're still having to focus on equitable educational initiatives. And remember, I served 8 years on the Anoka Hennepin School Board and served as its vice chair. And what we talked about was, why isn't the funding equitable here in our area? And that's what I was able to do. As the co-author of All Day Everyday Kindergarten, we were able to now leverage to get every child the ability to go to kindergarten and start their day off right. We have seen an increase in free and reduced lunches, and what that shows, it indicates an increase in poverty in our school district. And because of that, what I've done is get a pilot project called Compensatory Education, which focuses that money to that specific population and demographics. And what I've seen in the Anoka Hennepin and the Osseo school districts is we've actually closed the achievement gap. What we need to do is make that a statewide initiative. That was a plan I had 2 years ago. That's a plan I want to bring back in January because I know the data's there and it does work.
Lawmakers like Senator Hoffman listen to and are informed by constituents, by their neighbors.
You know, one of my first phone calls ever and always is to our superintendent of schools here in Anoka Hennepin School District, as well as the superintendent of schools in the Osseo School District. But more importantly is I talk daily to teachers that are in the trenches every day teaching our students what's right and for their education. And if it wasn't for those folks, along with the parents who feel they can call me anytime to talk about what's going wrong for our schools, I wouldn't be able to come forward with the broad spectrum of initiatives that I have in education. So it's kind of a trifecta, superintendents, teachers, as well as our parents.
Why do you like Champlin? Why did you move here?
Back in 2000, when we decided to move home, we picked Champlin because of A, great schools, B, a good community, and C, the location. You can get anywhere within the metropolitan area quickly. And that is why it's important to see 610 finish, and why I was important that I was able to say yes to get that money, so 610 to 94 is going to be complete. Businesses specifically said, thank you for finishing 610, and because of that, businesses have climbed. Matter of fact, there's been over 800 new business starts just in my Senate district alone in the last year. And as, of course, you know, Highway 10, which is one of the most traveled roads we have in the state of Minnesota, and I was really privileged and honored to be able to give the Armstrong Bridge a little boost. That was my bill, and of course that cleared up some of the traffic jamming. We now have 169, and the bridge going over the Mississippi River has been a priority and has now moved up to be started in 2018. If you give it a couple more years, that congestion will clear up.
The Coon Rapids Dam on the Mississippi River is the most famous dam in the northern suburbs. You can jog over it between Brooklyn Park and Coon Rapids, from one regional park over the river to another regional park. But John wanted me to see a smaller park and a smaller dam a bit upriver.
This area where you see the riprap right now was just all being eroded away because of the water. And our first special session 2 years ago, we were able to leverage $300,000 for the city to be able to put the riprap in and really kind of protect this area so that folks can enjoy it. This is called the Champlin Mill Pond Dam. Flows into the Mississippi River, and this dam is a project that was the first time in the history of the city of Champlin that any bonding money has ever come. The old Champlin Dam was regulating the water by 10 2x12s. Amazing. They had to manually go down there and shift it. That's how the water flow was regulated. And at one time it was used by a company that did grain, and so they used it as part of a mill pond, hence the name Mill Pond. Elm Creek does roll into this mill pond, and it used to be a huge fishery. And I was able to leverage an extra $2 million through the Legislative Citizens Commission on Minnesota Resources to help beautify this and turn it back into the fishery that it once was.
We were talking about, well, why aren't minorities becoming more involved? Why aren't our youth becoming more involved?
Now in January, at a forum on elections, voting, and running for office in Minnesota, I spotted Senator Hoffman in the audience.
And our tradition in Minnesota, across party lines, most of the time.
The message was that democracy works if we know how it works and who it serves. John Hoffman echoes that perspective.
Isn't that amazing? Top state in the country. It's because we've made the whole issue of access and accessibility important to voting rights in Minnesota. And what Secretary...
Democratic Visions is handcrafted by volunteers from Eden Prairie, Hopkins, Minnetonka, Edina, and Bloomington. Watch us on select cable systems and on our YouTube channel. This is Carol Sundstrom.